Not many people have the stomach for a full-on class warfare fight to the death. It won't be easy, and definitely not as easy as ordering from Instacart. Our workers have no rights, no health care, and no future. What they do have is a car. Instacart. Order today.
Welcome to Apocalypse Soon with special guest Ahamed Weinberg, a conversation with Rachel Fell, and guided meditation.
And now welcome your host, Eddie Pepitone.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode, segment, podcast of Apocalypse Soon. The only podcast that deals with the absolute crumbling of the American empire, and we make no bones about it. We have a good time talking about it because you gotta sing as you enter hell. Please welcome the band, the Mephistophelians.
Hey, baby, love the truth. You keep spitting the truth, and we love it over here.
Hey, by the way, Bobby, you cannot spit on this soundstage, okay? Because of the variants. I know you're not a vaxxer.
Oh, God.
But
the variants.
900,000 people have perished.
Supposedly.
You know, you keep saying that, but what do I have to do? Bring in dead folks?
Look, my buddy Tony, he got gangrene on his big toe, and it ended up, he hates hospitals. He ended up dying. You know what they say he died from?
What?
COVID.
You see, I've heard that before, but this is, and by the way, Bobby, let me ask you this, since you don't believe in COVID. Do you think it was animal transmission, or do you think it was made in a lab?
It was a goddamn Chinese who's been doing it. Believe me, I'm online.
You're online.
I'm online. I know what it was.
I know you're online. I saw you. You were watching some pornography just before we came on air.
Gets me pumped up for the jazz.
Yes. By the way, welcome again to Apocalypse Soon.
Yeah, welcome.
I'm here with my sidekick, Kevin Tinkin. Kevin, say hello.
Hello, folks. Hello.
Good to see you today.
Great to see you, Eddie. You're a ray of sunshine in a world of dark clouds.
Well, funny Kevin says that because we're recording this a February day. It was 90 here in the valley. There was a heat advisory. I'm not kidding you, folks.
Yeah.
You can't make this shit up. There was a heat advisory today in L.A. You know, I don't even think people are aware of how the climate breakdown is affecting them. Like mentally, they say mental illness, and mental illness really skyrockets during climate breakdown, and also intimate parties, like dinner parties. Mental illness.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen mental illness during a dinner party? It is unbelievable. Like, climate breakdown affects people's mental health because it's hot, you feel suffocated, you're out of whack with nature. But dinner parties is like, oh Christ.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know Ted Fredericks was coming. I think the wife has a thing for Ted Fredericks.
Oh yeah, that's dangerous. You got to keep the wife away from Ted Fredericks. He's a real snake.
Oh yeah, well, you know Ted, but I'm saying that the personal relationships during a dinner party can get very tense, putting out the right china. You know, should I have invited this guy Nick, who's a conspiracy theorist?
It's so hard. I sweat through so many shirts when I host. When I host a dinner party, the sweat, it just comes. You know, it keeps going. And there's surgery that I could have. Or I could just stop hosting dinner parties.
You don't want to like have one of those surgeries where they stop your glands from, or your pores from sweating, do you?
Eddie, if you would see the amount of sweat that I have to deal with on a regular
Well,
basis.
I see it here, but we do. By the way, just so you know, we are a sustainable podcast. When Kevin sweats, it goes into a tube, and that is recycled, and that sweat is turned into water.
Absolutely.
That feeds a small village. That not feeds, but it's water for a small village that was their water was bought up by the Nestle Corporation. A very small village in Peru.
Yeah, there's no waste that comes out of my body. everything is recycled and reused. You know what I mean? And I think it's kind of it's our responsibility as humans to do that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Your bowel movements are used in Adam Sandler comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah, your bowel movements kind of sing vocally. And speaking of singing and America's Got Talent and America's Got Problems, that would be a better show, wouldn't it? Instead of America's Got Talent, it would be America's Got Problems.
Well, it'd be a more realistic
It'd be
representation.
a more realistic show instead of some kid, because, by the way, everybody wants to be famous these days. Am I right? And let me tell you something. It is sad because, it's such a carrot. And it's because America and a lot of the world is ruled by spectacle, because spectacle and fame, because we have a society now that isn't connected. Like, we're not connected to each other in a real way.
Yeah.
We're not connected to each other. Like, our communities have been shattered all over the country, and we are played by the media. We're pitted against each other, and we all want this, fame. We all want. We aren't seen by other people, in our immediacy. So we want this. We think that if we have like a blue check mark, which I happen to have, next to my name on next to your name on Instagram, that you're going to have some kind of fulfillment.
Yeah. Well, I know you've always said that you wake up every morning and you look into a mirror and you say you're good enough. I know you've told me that. And
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have someone else's picture painted on that mirror. It's Clooney, George Clooney.
Well, it's not that far off.
You'd be surprised how far off it is when you really look at me. I mean, I know that, you kind of look at me through rose-colored glasses.
Really
and by
do.
the way, those are nice. Those are nice Ray-Bans.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. But let me say this, that, there's an emptiness to our culture because, soulless corporate culture that makes people yearn for community, because communities have been destroyed by companies that have either outsourced their businesses, they've left communities, and people are involved in the gig economy. Which, a gig used to be a cool thing. Like, I'm going to go gigging used to meant I'm going to go play the blues guitar at a really cool. Now it means driving an Uber and a Lyft, which is not unionized.
No.
So, I know you play that game a lot, where you have your loaded gun and you have your Nestle's chocolate milk, and you say, what do I want?
Yeah.
What do I want to do? Do I want to end it because this gig economy is something that doesn't give me a good living, doesn't give me health insurance, doesn't give me a purpose, doesn't let me have a house or have a family?
Yeah.
People can't have houses or families anymore, but they can get a lot of followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's a great game you play, like...
It keeps me on my toes. You know what I mean? It really keeps me. Sometimes I'll do it with my wife and kids. I'll have them in a corner. I'll have two choices, the loaded gun or my family. And I always look, I go, what is it going to be today? You know what I mean?
What is it going to be today? Yeah. And it keeps you on your toes. You're called Twinkle Toes Tinkin'.
That's right.
Which is a mouthful. Twinkle Toes Tinkin'.
Absolutely.
The triple T, they call it.
They
call you.
T, yeah.
K triple T.
T cubed has been the...
T cubed.
T cubed.
Which you have said. That's just so mathematical. It's a lot of fun,
It's great.
for everybody. All right. Well, let's get started. We have, our society crumbles more and more every day as we, our fingernails try to latch on to Instagram for some validity. TikTok, Twitch, Snapchat. Is Snapchat still happening? We don't know. We don't know.
I'm not sure.
We're older. I'm especially older. I'm on a senior citizens app just called Miedo. I'm on a citizens. I'm on a senior citizens app called Metamucil. .com. No, Metamucil is one of those products that, corporate America has developed that basically is a good kick in the ass.
It really is. It's kind of like this podcast. You know what I mean?
This podcast is meant to... first of all, it doesn't have an upside. Apocalypse Soon has no upside.
No upside.
And if you've listened to the first 5 minutes of this, you know that's true. The climate's breaking down. Inflation. Every day we get more and more news about the crumbling.
Yeah.
Inflation is happening so fast. Food prices going up, gas prices going up, fellatio going down.
Oof.
Food prices, gas prices up, fellatio cunnilingus, if I'm pronouncing that right.
I think you are, yeah.
My Dungeon and Dragons name is Cunnilingus, one of the knights of the Round Table. I don't know. Look, we're not meant to laugh at the crumbling, or we are.
Well,
that is the purpose of the podcast. Let's call this what it is, which is Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside, but let's laugh our way to hell.
I love it. Yeah, I just get a hot latte and just
hot latte.
Giggle with the latte in your mouth. Just put it up, take a sip, watch the polar ice caps slowly melting.
Or you know what they should be called in our country are the polarized ice caps, because
Wow.
Thank you, by the way, for that. I know I come up with a lot of things on the spot, but we should call it the polarized ice cap.
Yeah.
We're so fucking polarized, and I mentioned this before, that instead of fighting the rich and the corporations who are denuding us of everything, including our environment, we fight each other.
Yeah.
But there are signs of hope. General strikes going on in Seattle.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? The
I
concrete workers. I was watching this concrete worker the other day, and he was saying, we are building cities we can't afford to live in. How beautifully put was that?
Absolutely.
And also the concrete worker, I don't know if the light was striking him the right way, but he looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there was a light that struck him while he was, doing the fact that people are starting to organize, because it started with 30 concrete workers and it's built to like 3 or 4. There's solidarity.
Yeah.
That's what we need. We need solidarity. If you remember the Polish uprising Solidarność with Lech Walesa. Anybody remember Lech Walesa? No, you don't, because he wasn't on America's Got Talent, or America Has Cancer, or America Has Problems, or America has their balls being chopped off and neutered by oligarchs like Bezos and Musk. We need to hurt these people, and I don't mean hurt in the sense of feelings. I mean fucking hurt these people.
Yeah.
We are the podcast that calls for the great hurting.
Call to action.
It's a call to action.
Really
Sorry
is.
I yelled, everybody. I think
it's
I get.
all right.
And thank you, Kev, for letting me
Absolutely.
yell.
Yeah, I would overthrow a lot of this stuff. I get inspired when I listen to you. And I really, it does kind of, invoke some sort of response that I should be putting out there. But then I just got YouTube Premium. You know what I mean? And there's no commercials.
So you're not going to be joining any kind of protest soon.
I might. I'm working on getting my medications right. Just getting the levels right so I can leave the house again. And
That's you know what? By the way, let's also be honest about antidepressants and anti-anxieties, and I was on Klonopin for a while, and that's not to brag that I have that kind of lifestyle. Klonopin is a very strong benzoid, right? I think it's called a benzoid. It doesn't matter. This is also the podcast where we're just in the ballpark, right?
Right.
We're just in the ballpark of the truth.
Yeah.
Right? We want to be in the ballpark.
I guess that's just in the general area of the idea of what you're trying to say. Which is, a lot of that makes sense. It's how I communicate with a lot of people.
So getting your that's right. By the way, communicating with people is highly overrated. I'd rather just be home. I'd rather have YouTube Premium. What do you watch on YouTube Premium when your medication's working properly?
There's this guy that makes these really, really funny Minecraft videos. And man, he just
does he?
Yeah, he just yells. He yells into the microphone, just joy.
Is that a video game? I've heard of Minecraft.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
right?
yeah. He goes. You mine deep into the earth for diamonds and
in a virtual world.
In a virtual world, and I'm able to just escape, and just get out. And I don't think about the way my children feel about me anymore. I watch the man. He gets a couple of diamonds, and I celebrate. You know what I mean? Commercial free.
Commercial free. Yeah. Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. Commercial free. My sidekick, Kevin Tinkin, Twinkle Toes Tinkin,
that's right.
who says the choice between life and death, which he does every day with a gun that he got because he had X amount of miles on Marlboro cigarettes. Do you remember when Marlboro was giving Marlboro miles? Did you ever smoke cigarettes?
I did.
It's a dying art. It's a dying art, cigarette smoking.
It really is. It's so cool.
It's so cool. If there's one thing I'd like to impart is smoke cigarettes again, everybody. Look at the French. Even during the pandemic, the French are whipping out Gaulois, while they stuff down food down a goose. The French are great. They will torture a goose for pate.
Absolutely.
And then they'll whip out a Gaulois, Actually, the yellow vest movement in France was great, and I mean that. That was a big, and I don't know if they're still doing it, but they know how to fucking protest, and they fucking do it, and we need to do it more over here. But I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. It's good that you're tweaking your medications. By the way,
I'm tweaking them.
Medication tweaking would be another great show. Today on CBS, medication tweaking with Kevin James, Adam Sandler, and Chris Rock. Edgy Chris Rock, who's been on the Grown Ups 1, Grown Ups 2, and Grown Ups 3. I always think it's funny, and I think Chris Rock is a very great comedian, but it's so funny to me when, comedians like Chris Rock, do like Grown Ups.
Yeah. But what are you going to say no to Sandler? No, there's no way.
I guess, what are you going to, and Chris Rock has talked about this, what are you going to say no to all that money?
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Absolutely. That's one of the main reasons I'm here. And so I, of all people, understand.
I wish I knew what money you're talking about, but we will build this. And they say if you build it, it will be torn down.
That's right.
That should have been the movie. If you build it, it will be torn down.
It will be torn down. Well, Eddie, we got a great show today.
We sure do.
We're calling some folks. We're going to get a view from, just kind of a 360-degree view.
That's right.
Experience of America. What's happening right now with the average American?
We do something, and it's kind of catching on. We do random zooming.
Zoom roulette.
Zoom roulette. Do you remember what was that called?
The Deer Hunter.
No. Well, this is kind of a deer. No, that Russian roulette. What were people doing for a while, that roulette thing? Was it called Russian roulette?
Wait, I think.
No, not where they'd spin a gun. That's what you do with your family every day.
Yes.
No.
Keeps them on their toes.
No, it was a video thing.
A chat roulette.
Chat roulette, where you would all of a sudden see naked people.
Every dude had his dick out.
Every dude had his dick out, which is, that sounds like the Today Show with Matt Lauer. But every dude had his dick out. Matt Lauer, Charlie Rose, Anyway, we're random zooming so people can feel what the average American's going through. All right, let's do it.
The life of Thich Nhat Hanh was a powerful, relentless call for love and compassion, something that can't even be fathomed in the military prison industrial hellscape we live in. That's why every 7-Eleven slushie this week is empty. 7-Eleven. Space for compassion and love.
All right, so we are going to check in on another person dealing with the crumbling of the American empire. I have just randomly picked a gentleman named Ben Stevens. Ben, how are you dealing with the current state of America? And welcome to Apocalypse Soon.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Eddie. I'm a huge fan, and it's just an honor to kind of get away from my life for a second, talk to someone with celebrity, because
yeah,
really. I mean, compared to me, I don't have a lot of.
So you're not a celebrity, but I'm sure you're loved by your family, yeah.
But that's the thing, is that I have literally everything you could want. I would say in an American way. I have a great job. I work at Microsoft.
Wow.
I come home to my wife. She's more beautiful every day.
That does sound hard.
Yeah.
She sucks my dick constantly.
It is hard then, yes. Well, no, this sounds like a good life.
It feels like nothing because I'm on a lot of medicine and
a lot of medicine.
They start, because there's something missing, And my friends say, "Well, your wife gets hotter every year," and I'm like, "You fucker," because I can't feel it.
Wait a minute, really? I
can't feel.
You can't feel.
I can't feel my cock because of the medicine. I am on Paxil and Zoloft and Wellbutrin.
You're on all three?
A trifecta.
I'm on all three.
Well, that's why you can't feel, bud.
Yeah.
You gotta. Yeah. My doctor has me on 200 milligrams of Zoloft, which is the highest amount you can go on. Wow. And while I don't get erections, I'm very even.
I can't decide whether I want to feel things and also enjoy my wife, or live in this exact, kind of
purgatory,
like malaise of nothingness. But it allows me to escape from what I'm missing, which is fame. I don't have fame. I want to be famous.
You seem to be very obsessed with being famous.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to make up for the void that you feel inside? Because it sounds like, quite frankly, you have a God-sized hole, Ben.
Yes, thank you. It's bigger than that.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you so much for diagnosing me again.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking celebrity. Yeah. Of course I can diagnose.
Isn't it good to be seen by somebody with so many followers?
Yes.
Right?
I'm hoping this helps me get, a few followers at least.
Sure.
Or a blue check mark. When I see the blue check mark, I go, that's happiness. That's what I need.
Let me ask you this. When you see the blue check mark, do you come?
I feel something.
Okay.
I don't come, but for the first time, and if my wife is there and she's pleasuring me and I see a blue check mark, it does help. I try to set that up on the screen in our bedroom because she's very kind. She understands what I'm going through. She's very sweet.
Let me ask you this, Ahamed.
Okay.
What if you're not in?
No, it's actually Ben.
Yeah, it's Ben Stevens.
Fucking, I don't know. I've been obsessed with terrorism. Ben.
Wait a minute.
Ben, I am so sorry.
You don't respect Muslims at all.
Yeah. I do. I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them.
Love them. Can't get enough.
Kevin.
Yeah.
I love all kinds of Muslims. Let me tell you something, Ben.
Yeah. What's so funny?
What? No. What's funny?
What the fuck is your problem?
Ben, take it easy. For a guy who doesn't feel, you got a lot of emotion coursing through you.
I'm just practicing. I don't know what.
Are you looking at a blue check mark right now? Are you feeling verified?
I feel something when I see that blue check mark, and I don't know what it is.
Now, I have said this before, that people who are not in show business are cowards. Now, you work for Microsoft. How do you expect to get famous? You have to get into some kind of entertainment.
Yeah.
What the hell do you do? If you want to be famous, take a step, Ben, toward the spotlight. Talk to me about how you're going to become famous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to start embarrassing myself publicly.
That's what we do as comedians.
Yeah, Eddie's very successful.
I'm very successful at doing that. Come to the Improv tonight and you'll see me embarrass myself publicly.
It's a work of art.
Well, I live in Milwaukee. I just did it all wrong. I did it all wrong. I went for the career and the wife and the kids and the home and the
Oh, you have children.
The yard.
You have
I
children.
have four children.
Do they have a blue check mark? If they don't, fuck them.
Yeah.
They don't. Their names are Paxil, Zoloft, Wellbutrin, and Larry.
Well, I think that's terrific that you're naming your kids after medicines, as you put it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Thank you.
Now, I mean, I know I look into the face of my children and I find joy and love and peace and fulfillment. And you know, what about you?
I find they all follow me on Instagram. I got
That's
into their account
important.
That's a good strategy.
So I see them around the house, and I'm like, oh, those are my fans. You know, that's kind of nice to think about.
You have a very twisted, you're a great, and Kevin, I'm glad we picked Ben out of the blue, and he's a great example. Ben, you are a great example of a sickness, of a cancer in the United States and around the world, actually, of this obsession with being famous and that you can't live unless you have a blue check mark. What if my podcast just came to your place in Milwaukee and put a huge blue check mark on your front door? Would that help?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I would have to see it, and I would have to feel, if it does anything to my cock. But I do think...
Why a cock? You always bring it...
Yeah, he likes talking about his hog.
I don't know.
Well, it's a thing. I'm blessed.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you're telling me you got 2 kids, a house, a wife?
4 kids.
I'm sorry.
Wellbutrin, Paxil, Zoloft, and what was
Larry.
Larry, that's right. Your wife?
Larry got off lucky.
She can't keep...
Well, my wife named him.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You got
after someone I think she met.
Yeah, that she is having relations with.
Interesting.
But I don't mind that she's fucking everyone around town because I just don't feel it. I don't care.
Wow.
It's fine.
You just can't find any joy with all this positive.
Yeah.
But he's a celebrity worshiper. He lives in a fantasy world of Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. What is your favorite social media? Are you a fan of Twitch? I enjoy Twitch.
Yeah.
I use my kids to try to go viral pretty much every day.
Well, why else do people have children?
Yeah, it's a great use of your kids.
That's a great use of your kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they don't have the thing, they don't have the it factor, I find. Because I try to embarrass them and do pranks on them and get funny reactions, and it's mostly just kind of sad, Yeah. It doesn't have that thing that TikTok needs, It's a
Well, are you thinking about having another? Maybe have another kid?
Maybe the next one's the one.
Maybe the next one's an influencer. Maybe the next one's an influencer,
Yeah. What would you say as far as a piece of advice to help out this man with this huge hog and this great family?
Huge hog?
Yeah.
Is that what we're calling it these days? Look, Ben, what I would say is you're right. You're right. Okay, you are on the right track. You don't want love from a group of strangers, which is essentially what your family sounds like.
Yeah.
They are to you. You want love from people who are at least once removed from you, which means online. You want love online. You want fame.
You want to be retweeted. You want to be reposted. You want validation, and you're not going to get it from your immediate family. Okay? So keep plugging. If I were you, I would try something like ventriloquism. You need to get into entertainment a little bit. I would try ventriloquism. I would try, what else do you think? Unicycling?
Puppets. Yeah, puppets. I mean, ventriloquism.
Singing. Do you sing? Why don't we end this segment with you singing? What's a song that we all know?
How about something that just like Somewhere Over the Rainbow or something with it's a little positive,
positive, or the theme to Monsanto. If our seeds blow on your land, we're going to keep you in court and own your property. Do you know that song, the Monsanto song?
No, but I do. I could do like a Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Okay.
I could do my own kind of thing.
All right, go. Let's hear it before we leave. Go ahead. This is Ben. Ben, go ahead. And I am so sorry that you can't find love in your immediate family, but people, that kind of love isn't what guys like me and you and others.
And just to be clear, you're telling me like you're a famous guy, you're a celebrity, and you find that it fills the hole, the God-shaped hole.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I get up and I go, hello, Dave. It's great to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a God-sized hole.
Eddie often has described himself as fulfilled. That usually I go, how you doing, Eddie? He goes, you know what? I got no complaints. That's what he says a lot.
Go ahead. Sing us a little Somewhere Over the Rainbow in your style.
Okay, here we go.
And maybe you'll get famous from this.
We'll see. Somewhere over the rainbow, blue check mark.
All right.
And
Thanks
lots of people I don't know who want to fuck.
Okay, thank you, Ben. And we will just pray for you.
That was okay.
Yeah, you'll be famous.
There's more.
No, that was good. Okay, that was good.
Fine.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. That's enough for that segment. Let's get rid of this.
My wife doesn't do it for me anymore.
He's obsessed with
more.
Yeah, he's really having a hard time.
All right, let's get rid of this kid. Thanks, man.
Bye, Ben.
As I listen to Leonard Cohen's songs here in the final gasp of the human race, I'm reminded of the intense beauty of a sale at Bed Bath & Beyond that offered throw pillows at drastically reduced prices. We just don't know what we had here on planet Earth.
Welcome, my lovelies, my beautiful, beautiful people who are joining me today for guided meditations with Eddie Pepitone in a very dodgy area of California. We are in danger here. Luckily, it looks like things are calm. So I'm going to try to guide you through a meditation. Our collapsing society is here to stay, folks. And let's get to it. Here we go. I want you to breathe in the following sentiment and visualization. With every in-breath, I want you to say, I am part of a soul-sucking species that has destroyed everything of value because we live in our egos, we live in our minds, and everything will soon be dead because we do not connect to the source. Just breathe that in. You belong to a soul-sucking species that destroys everything alive. And it'll get worse and worse and worse. Breathe that in, and now with your out breath, I want you to know that the pain you feel is well deserved. With your out breath, just know that the pain you feel is well deserved. Oh, yes. And now, with your next in-breath, I want you to realize there's a 60 to 75% chance you will die alone with a hot plate and a lottery ticket in a small, pathetic motel. A 60 to 75% chance that you will die alone with a hot plate and a lottery ticket, perhaps a gun, in a small, pathetic motel. Breathe that in, and with your out breath, I want you to know that every new variant is your fault. Every new variant is your fault because you've contributed to the collapse of our ecosystem and our moral system. You, with your lifestyle of consumption and empty consumerism, you have contributed to the collapse. So every new variant that mutates is indeed your fault. Let that sit. And now with your in-breath, I want you to breathe in the absolute anxiety you have when you go to get the mail and you think the government is going to discover that you actually didn't report your earnings when you were collecting from EDD. You thought you could get away with it. And now it's coming back to haunt you. You got an original letter that said, we're on to you, and now you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that letter hasn't come. But every time you open the mailbox, you think, oh, fuck, this is the day that that letter is going to come, and they're going to want me in court. Breathe that in, that you're going to go to court and you can't afford a lawyer and you've defrauded the EDD. Breathe that in, and with your out breath, I want you to subscribe to the Eddie Pepitone Patreon page. The link will be listed. Please subscribe to the Eddie Pepitone Patreon page, which will pay for lawyers and Whole Foods, organic apples that I love to cut up. You will get extra segments of me being extremely funny and brutally honest. In other words, if you subscribe, you will be getting more than others. And isn't that really the purpose of life, to say that I have more than you? So subscribe to Eddie Pepitone's Patreon page. Namaste, everybody.
Hello, this is Eddie Pepitone, and this is the serious part of our podcast. Well, serious is a strong word for my next guest, who is a existential life coach, and don't get all uppity on me about that. She is a brilliant woman who I've been working with existentially, spiritually, and emotionally. Please welcome Rachel Fell. Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Eddie, what's going on?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on. One of my guests in this podcast talked about, in a funny way, talked about, having a great family, a great job, yet he was so bereft about not being famous and not having enough followers on Instagram. I feel it too. It's not, I definitely am about that constant validation, and it never ends. Can you chime in about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it seems like it's totally normal for humans to be interested in external validation. You know, like think about evolutionary biology and like wanting to be accepted by our, you know, our tribe or our group, or like wanting to contribute, wanting to be seen, right? I think it's like a fundamental need for humans to be seen. What's crazy though is like, you know, I think a lot about like the mind body connection and sort of like we forget about the body a lot, you know, and you hear people talk about like, you know, like dopamine and all of like the chemicals, all like, you know, the likes and the validation, right? That actually generates a biochemical response. And so I think people can
Right.
definitely get like addicted to it. You know, a lot of times it's like, is it running me or am I running it kind of thing, you know, but that desire for external validation, I think is normal. And then social media takes it to this level that's just like it's out of our control, you know, in a lot of ways, maybe.
We love that stimulation. Now, you said that it's normal to want to get validation from the outside, right? The community, the tribe, but again, it's got to be a balance, right? It's got to be like not this crazy thing where like for hours during your day you're like, who liked my post? Oh my god, it's up to 800 likes. This one liked it, that one liked it, who I like. What is that big drive, and how do we make it moderate and, you know, healthy?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a big fan of having just as many questions as, you know, answers. And like a lot of this is all about like, can we be curious about shit and not need to know? Because, you know, again, coming back to the body, the cortex evolved last. So we have this brainstem and that regulates breathing and heart rate and all the things that we like don't consciously think about and don't need to attend to during the day. Then we've got the limbic system, and that's the mammalian brain. Again, this all connects to the full-on nervous system, which moves through the whole body. Then, you know, that big, beautiful cortex evolved last. And that's where that like computational problem solving, metacognition, all these like human things that we, you know, really identify with in our culture live. And I think it's interesting. You said something about your slow, so and then fast. We have an unconscious value around fast, I think, in our society.
That's
And
interesting.
that
uh,
is
mhm.
exacerbated by the scroll, you know, and then when you couple that with this over reliance on external validation, because a lot of people, you know, I mean, you and I have talked about this. Late stage capitalism does a great job of alienating ourselves from ourselves. And so we're constantly proving ourselves. We're like unconsciously always being driven to prove ourselves to the outside world.
I love that you brought to late stage capitalism, which is maybe my favorite topic. One thing I think late stages capitalism does very well is make us feel, you know, what you have called before the scarcity mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That we are not enough, that we don't have enough, that, you know, hey, you sitting cross-legged, you know, doing a mantra is valuable time that you could spend, you know, writing your novel or developing, you know, a new whatever it is that'll make you rich, 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 rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why aren't you selling on Instagram? Why aren't you building your personal brand? Like, yeah, exactly. All that stuff.
Which you can do, but when you make that your focus
Mm-hmm.
for your self-worth, in other words, our self-worth, right? This is a big thing. You know, our self-worth has to come from inside. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we need external validation from the community, but first and foremost, we have to, you know, and this is going to sound so, you know, hippy dippy or whatever, but we have to love ourselves, you know, really come from that place of that, right?
Yeah. And you know what's funny? I just want to like
Yeah, go ahead.
you just qualified. You're like, oh, this sounds hippy dippy. This sounds woo, like self-love. How deep is our embedded sort of the embedded stoicism that like that somehow that's like not practical or it's not okay to like care for the self. It's like there's all sorts of like, if you get really deep in there, it's like there's like this martyrdom thing, like I live for others. And then there's also this thing where like, you know, I couldn't possibly care for myself. Like I'm not, you know, and then that idea that we have to be strong and we have to always have it together too. It's like, all of the like really kind of gnarly, nefarious, embedded aspects that keep us from even going to that place that are in like late stage capitalism and all the messaging around sort of like having over being and not being enough. It's like, oh, self-love, great. It's like, no, that shit is pragmatic. And what does it mean? You know, and you and I have talked about that a couple of times, a number of times too. It's like, what does that actually mean? It's like, can I just like be nice to myself? Can I be honest with myself? I always come back to radical, compassionate honesty. And most people are not nice to themselves. And most people are not honest with themselves.
And just say where people can reach you. Contact you for you know, this kind of, I mean, I find you better than any therapist that I've ever had. Like, the work we do is therapy, and it's just becoming conscious, and you create this space where, you know, I can really, you know, be with these painful feelings because I feel supported. And I think that's what people need. And I think you do that in a great way, where I've had a lot of therapists who are just not conscious enough, or they don't have the courage, which is wild. They don't have the courage to like be that vulnerable or be that present with, you know, pain. Really so good. How can people reach you?
RachelFell.com is my website. I am at RachelFell_ on Instagram.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for dropping by. Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside. If you have an email, you can email us at eddypeppodcast@gmail.com. eddypeppodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you could go to iTunes and write a review, I and Kevin and Aaron, we would all, and ATC, we would all be so grateful. Write us a review on iTunes, you know, and I'm sure it'll be a great review, but write a review, you know, do what you feel is what I say. Also, I'd like to thank our engineer, Aaron Brungart. I'd like to thank my great sidekick and producer, Kevin Tinkin. And I would like to say I will be at South by Southwest. I will be there March 11 through 15. So if you're going to that great festival in Austin, I will be doing comedy and stand-up, March 11 through 15. And I'll also be performing April 14, 15, 16, and 17, Chico, California, Santa Cruz, Sacramento, Rohnert Park, California. You can find all of these dates and all of my information at eddypepitone.com.
Yeah. Well, and if you really love Eddie and you want some more Eddie Pepitone, make sure to go check him out on Patreon in the link below in the description. And you get some extra stand-up clips, some behind-the-scenes footage, and maybe even some nudes. You know, I'm still working on him on that one.
Yeah,
but
it's a calendar.
Yeah, it's going to be so beautiful.
It's really nice, and these aren't like where I'm hiding things behind a chair, like my genitals.
Mm-hmm. This is hustler style.
This is hustlero in Spanish. Yes.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks for coming by.
Mm-hmm. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.